Hello kids, I hope you all are doing good. And today we will start with our next block. Now in this block, which is symmetry, we will learn symmetry in shapes, lines of symmetry, reflective symmetry and mirror images. So starting with our first lesson, which is symmetry. Now symmetry means that one shape or a part of a shape is exactly like another when the shape is moved or folded. Okay. Now the first lesson is symmetry in shape. When a shape or a figure is divided into two halves. Now how we can divide it into two halves? By cutting through the center or by folding it. Okay, we can divide any 2D shape into two halves either by cutting it through the center or by folding it through the center, right? So if we divide any 2D shapes into two equal halves such that both the parts are identical or both the parts are same or mirror images of each other, it is called symmetrical shape or symmetrical figure. For example, this butterfly you can see on your screen. When it is folded through the center, then both the parts on the left hand side and the right hand side are identical, okay, or are same, or it looks like mirror images of each other. Now coming to the next example, you can see different examples in the symmetry card. Okay, apple, if you just cut the apple through from the center, the two halves are going to be equal. You can try it yourself. Even if the shape of a heart, if you cut it through the center or fold it through the center, the two halves are going to be equal. Similarly with the bug, with the arrow, with the flower shown in the symmetry card, the house shown in the symmetry card and the plane. So I can say that all these images, when are cut or when are divided into two equal halves, both the parts are identical or are mirror images of each other. So such objects are called symmetrical shape or figure. If we draw a line through the center of the shape or figure, we see that one side looks just like the other, and the line in and this line which you can see here, this line, okay, is called the line of symmetry. Okay. Now if the shape is not symmetrical, then if the shape is not symmetrical, then it is asymmetrical. Now what is asymmetrical? Let us see the example of asymmetrical objects. Yes, this bicycle and the tree. We can have tree like this also, and we can have trees like this also in nature. Trees like this is different from trees like which is there on the right hand side, as there is line of symmetry in this tree but there is no line of symmetry in this tree. Why I am saying this? Because when I try to fold it, when I try to cut the tree from the center, the two halves are equal in this case, whereas on the right hand side, when I try to cut the tree from the center, the two halves are not equal, the two halves are not identical. What does it mean? It means that on the right hand side there is no line of symmetry and the two halves are not identical. Similarly, in this bicycle, if I just cut the bicycle from the center vertically, the two halves are not equal. And also if I just try to cut it through the center horizontally, then also the two halves are not equal. Okay. So I hope now you can easily see any shape and can identify whether the picture or any object is symmetrical in shape or not. Or if it is symmetrical, then you would be able to just draw the line of symmetry, right? Now coming to the next is your homework, which is symmetry in shape, that is S1. Try it yourself and let me know if you face any problem. Okay. Now coming to the next lesson, lesson number 2, which is line of symmetry. A shape can have more than one line of symmetry. This means that the shape can be divided into two equal halves in more than one way. Okay, as you can see, all these alphabet which are there on the left hand side, they have one line of symmetry. Means if I just cut it through the center horizontally, the two halves, the upper half and the lower half, are identical, right? See, if I have B, then the upper half and the lower half are equal, right? And if I have O, then also the upper half and the lower half are equal. But what if I cut it vertically? Yes, then also the left hand side and the right hand side are equal, right? Yes. What does it mean? It means that there are more than one line of symmetry. Okay. So an image can have more than one line of symmetry. Now see the example of this butterfly again. There is a line of symmetry when I cut it vertically, as the two halves are equal. But do you think it's gonna same when we cut it through horizontal? No. If we will cut the butterfly horizontally, the two halves are not gonna equal. Why? Because you can see the head at the top part and the small tail at the bottom part. Okay, which is different, which is not identical in both the parts. So I can say that a butterfly can be cut only in the vertical direction. It can be cut only vertically. Okay. Now some shapes can have an endless or infinite number of lines of symmetry. Let us find the lines of symmetry in a square. Okay, so I have a shape square for you. This is a square. Let us find the line of symmetry in a square. Just fold a paper along this line and then along this line. You'd be able to see that the two halves are identical, right, in both the foldings. So it means that a square has 4 lines of symmetry. Now coming to the next is H and X. 2 lines of symmetry are there. If I cut it like this, then the two halves are equal, and if I cut it horizontally like this, then the two halves are equal. Similarly with X, vertically also and horizontally also. Okay. Similarly with this, if I just try to cut it to the center, the two halves are equal. If I try to cut it like this horizontally, then also the two lines are equal. If I just try to cut it from here, then also the two lines are equal. Okay, and if I just cut it through this, then also the two lines are equal. Okay, so I hope this is clear that how different 2D shapes can have more than one line of symmetry. So now coming to the next is your homework, which is S2. So do it yourself and let me know if you face any problem. Now coming to the lesson number 3, which is to draw the reflection of a picture. How can we draw the reflection of a picture? Okay, the answer is reflective symmetry, because there are shapes when the reflection of any shape or figure is exactly the same as the figure, it is said to have reflective symmetry. As you can see the example here on the screen, we have this shape, right? And when I placed a mirror in front of the shape, I can see the identical shape in the mirror also, right? So what does it mean? It means that the object placed in front of the mirror is having identical image. Okay, so the reflection of the shape is exactly the same as in the figure. So I can say it is having reflective symmetry. Now more examples are there. Suppose this is the mirror and this is the object. So you can easily see the image of the object on the right hand side. Okay, similarly you can try to draw the image for this one also. Let us draw it like this. This you will understand better if you just try to experiment this with the help of a mirror and the objects. Okay, try to do it practically. Okay, now coming to the next, more examples are there, because here I can just take the examples only. In the class, obviously, I will take the different, I will show this practically to you. Okay, okay, now complete these images. Can you complete this? Like this, okay? So what I'm drawing here, I'm drawing the other half of the mirror, okay? But I'll get the reflection in a mirror that I'm drawing. Okay, so you can try S3, similarly you have to do S3 because there is nothing different in S3 what we have discussed so far. So you can try S3. Now coming to the next is to create the mirror image of a figure. Okay, now any figure given to you, you can just create the mirror image. We see our mirror image when we look at ourselves in a mirror, right? The image is exactly like us in shape, in size also, and distance from the mirror also. Just see this, the image of this lizard. So the lizard, the image of the lizard is exactly, the image is exactly like the actual lizard, in shape also, in size also, and in distance from the mirror also. Similarly, on the left hand side you can see the clown. There is a mirror placed in front of the clown, and you can see the difference between the original image and the mirror image. So the only difference in the original image and the mirror image is that it is flipped. Okay, that it is flipped along the mirror line or the line of symmetry. For this, for more example, you can just observe your hands. Take your both hands together in front of you and just try to observe. Imagine the mirror to be placed in between the two hands. Okay, the picture of your image of your hand will be same like this only. Okay, okay, now however some letters are there, like A, H, I, M and X, so on, have a mirror image that is exactly the same as the letter itself. Okay, so for example, if I have taken more example, let me just see. Okay, so like A, if I just place a mirror here, I'll get this. Okay, now you can see both images are same. Similarly with H, both images are same, right? What about if I just take O? Again both images are same, right? Now if I take J, the image for this going to be this, right? Now in this case I can say that there is a flip in the, along the mirror line or along the line of symmetry. Similarly, in case of P, if I see, this is the image which I'll be getting on a mirror, right? So again there is a flip along the mirror line or along the mirror or line of symmetry. Okay, so now if this is clear to all, then you can just try this as for yourself, and all the best. Let me know if you face any problem in this particular block. So I will take your doubts in the next session, next live session. Okay.